History isn't just in textbooks. It's in the places we live and in the stories that people forget to tell.
Welcome to Folklore Facts. Grandma's getting to the bottom of it.
I'm AJ.
I'm Jen.
And this season, we're chasing some Revolutionary era stories for America's 250th.
With facts, folklore, and plenty of rabbit trails.
If you like hidden history and good stories, subscribe and come along with us as we get to the bottom of it.
Find a cozy corner and get comfy. The legends are wild and the grandmas are wilder.
Okay, so welcome back to Folklore and Facts. Grandma's getting to the bottom of it. I'm AJ.
I'm Jennifer.
And today we're digging into what Elizabeth Goss did to earn her status as Patriot, what her service really was.
Well, and she is documented in the DAR records, which gives us a very good timeline of exactly what she did, where she was, and that she was officially given Patriot status by the DAR, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I want to include that a lot of the information we're sharing today is information we've gotten from the Phillipsburg Heritage Foundation. A lot of stuff is on their Facebook page. You should go there and read. They've got a ton of great information, great stories and photos, that sort of thing. But this also includes something that feels kind of wild to say out loud. Elizabeth Goss went personally to George Washington.
And so, this is history. She's a patriot, but it's also local.
It is.
It's something
You're
totally
right.
different.
You're right. Now, Elizabeth wasn't born in Pennsylvania. She was born in Germany in, 1735. And her maiden name was Hewlett, Hughlet. And of course, as all the records and things, always there's various spellings.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of different ways to spell that. Mm-hmm. She did go by Betsy or Betty a lot, I believe. And she immigrated to Pennsylvania and then married Johann Georg or George Goss on January 11th of 1755.
So when we picture her at this point, she's a frontier wife. I mean, obviously, we're talking about, pretty early on. She's building a life from scratch with her husband and some sons in the Pennsylvania wilderness.
Yeah. She and George had 3 sons, George Jr., Jacob, and Abraham, their youngest.
They're living in the Wyoming Valley, which what we think of as Wyoming Valley in Pennsylvania today. It's still Wyoming County.
Yeah, that's where Fort Wyoming is Wilkes-Barre or Wilkes-Barre.
However you say it. Some people say it Wilkes-Barre, Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah. And if you're not in Pennsylvania, there's another huge list of how people mispronounce it.
Right.
But then, let me see, July 3rd in 1778 is when the Wyoming massacre happened.
Yes.
And to give you some background, because I had heard about it, but I needed to do a little bit of research too to find out exactly what this was, so we understood our story about Elizabeth a little bit better. This is when there was a fight between the Patriots and the Loyalists. In this case, Butler's Rangers was the unit, and some Seneca Native American fighters. Seneca were part of course, the Six Nations of the Iroquois.
Right.
And Corn Planter played into this. He was part of it, which I know he's going to come up in some other.
Absolutely. So there's also a local connection to Corn Planter. So, and we get the concept that the Iroquois Nation, that had the 6 tribes, and I'm going to say them. So you have the Mohawk, the Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later on the Tuscarora. And so, because some accounts talk about that it was the Iroquois natives that fought with the Loyalists, some accounts talk about it being the Seneca.
Yeah.
But they're all basically, in the same grouping.
Right. And interestingly, some of the different nations chose different sides too. Some fought with the Loyalists and some fought with the Patriots.
Right. If you think about it, it's kind of like, Clearfield County. Like Clearfield County, some people during the Civil War, some people in Clearfield County, were very pro-union, and some people in Clearfield County were very anti-union.
Yeah, you had the Copperheads who were very much against having the war
Right.
to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So early on, I guess in the Revolutionary War, this was only 2 years in 1778, was this Wyoming massacre, and Elizabeth and George's 2 older sons, George Jr. and Jacob, are killed.
Yes.
Yeah,
So this is when her life, as she knew it, absolutely stops and changes.
Right.
They're involved in this skirmish. Both or two of her three sons are killed.
Yeah.
And then comes like the interesting part of, not interesting, but the sad part and the misunderstood part of the Wyoming massacre.
Yeah. Yeah. Because at the time, and I guess it was almost propaganda went out, but the word went out and it was spread in the newspapers of the time and such that the loyalists and the Native Americans burned and looted and like indiscriminately killed anybody that was left.
Right.
Went around to all the farms and such. And
Right.
it was partly true. They did burn and loot, but they did not kill the mostly women and children and non-fighting men that were left behind.
Right. And so this was kind of, if you want to think of it as a myth or folklore, or like you said, propaganda at the time. So this belief was circulated for decades that this Wyoming massacre had happened because after the actual battle, all these people had been slaughtered by the natives and the loyalists.
Right.
Did not happen.
No.
Looting, yes. And so we know that after the Wyoming massacre, as it's discussed or as it's called, so here's Elizabeth, and they basically have nothing.
Right. Yeah, they survived. Elizabeth and George and their youngest son Abraham all survived by hiding out in the laurel bushes.
Right.
And as many other folks that they hid, and that's how they survived. Now,
Right.
their possessions were looted and farm burned, and so on. But they were left to live anyhow.
So we know that after the massacre, Elizabeth's husband George and his son Abraham enlist in Washington's army.
Yeah, George was apparently enraged, understandably enraged.
Yes.
And he was nearly 50 years old. But even so, he enlisted, and Abraham enlisted as a fifer in Washington's army.
Right.
And I want to explain, a fifer wasn't just somebody casually playing the fife alongside. Right. They were a target.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, and we may be even more familiar if you think about, like maybe even during the Civil War, but the same thing happened during the Revolutionary War. So you had the line of the drummers, the fifer, the flag bearers, but remember that they were actually using, different music, different sounds, telling the troops on the field to advance, to retreat, or to do something totally different. And so, but they were like the front line, like people wanted to shoot them.
Yeah, because you shoot them and there's the communication taken out.
Right.
As
you have all these muskets firing, the generals on the battlefield, the leaders on the battlefield can't get they can't get the commands out, and that was the purpose of these musicians.
Right.
So when we talk about Abraham being a fifer, like you said, it was a really, really scary assignment. Really? He had to be very brave to do that.
Yeah, and he was pretty much just a kid at the time too, a teenager.
Right.
Yeah. So unfortunately then around 1780, 1780, George died. Probably near Camden, New Jersey. There was fighting going on there at the time.
Right. So it might be during a battle.
Yeah.
Not exact records don't exactly indicate.
Right. So, and we know how illness, infection, all that sort of thing followed.
Oh, yes.
Was
Dysentery, absolutely.
One of the large killers in the war.
Yes.
But now Elizabeth had lost two of her sons and now also her husband. And so there she was, penniless, and
she'd lost everything in the Wyoming massacre.
Yeah.
What's she to do?
Right. We kind of skipped over the part when her husband and son joined. We skipped over what she did.
Yes.
We
kind of
we skipped ahead a little bit.
Kind of the main idea.
Yeah, we need to remember what she did, because she was did not want to be left alone.
Right.
Well, she had nothing left.
She had nothing. Yeah, she's penniless.
Yeah.
Couldn't support herself.
No home. Their farm was gone. They had no money. She attached herself to Washington's army then as a cook and a nurse.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, once again, can you imagine? I mean, that is horrible. I mean, the cooking part, sure, but also the nursing part, as you're taking care of all the wounded and, taking care of
the sick
and, trying, I'm sure, to be, trying to do everything you can to help them, But she really was a woman who probably saw that she had no alternative.
Right.
What
Yeah, I
else
don't
could she do?
know. Yeah, I don't know. Probably women, a lot of them might have fled to wherever to get away to live with family if they had family
Right.
or whatever. But she
Right.
was not going to just sit at home and pray.
She did not.
Was going to take part and be a big part of, the success of the Army
Right.
as
Which,
it went forward.
we know is, she actually was, she has the official DAR status of being a patriot.
Right.
And so,
yeah, her Patriot Service is listed. Now we've looked and we can't find anything that talks about her getting a pension.
right.
A lot of the women didn't get pensions. They did as widows and such, but a lot of times they didn't have the information to submit or the ability to submit the information that they needed in order to get a pension.
Right.
But her service was recognized officially.
Absolutely. And kind of like we were talking about, her son, Abraham the Fifer, this is gritty, tough, takes a lot of courage and bravery to do what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's right there, right back behind the battlefield and taking care of these men and boys as they're injured and coming off the field.
Yeah. Yeah, as if farming and settling wasn't enough.
Right.
Right. She stepped it up one more
right.
and went and helped right alongside the soldiers.
So this DAR certification was not just, kind of like a little award, like she earned her status as a patriot for our country.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's then the part that almost doesn't feel real. It's near the end of the war. She lost two of her sons and her husband, all their property, basically everything in her life as she knows it is gone. She has one son left. So what's she do?
She's going to talk to George Washington.
Go straight to the top, of course.
Absolutely.
Not any good woman,
Absolutely.
you don't mess around. You go straight to the top.
And she did.
She did. Yeah. And this is more proof to me of George Washington's caring, empathetic nature, his compassion for his men.
Right.
Because she went to him on her knees begging to release her son Abraham from service. Because at this point, he was George Washington's groom.
Which, once again, imagine. I think that sometimes, we talk about these things, we talk about the local connections, and I think that sometimes it doesn't even seem like it could be real, but it's real.
Right. Here's another Clearfield County connection to George Washington.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth went and appealed to George Washington in person, and her son was taking care of his horse, riding his horse,
Yes.
We'll put a picture on too. Yeah. Right here somewhere.
Right.
We'll put a picture of him with his horse.
Yes.
But this is the horse that Abraham was caring for.
Yes.
But he was all Elizabeth had left.
Right. One son, that's all she has.
Yeah, so
she has her son Abraham. What is she to do? This is a time whenever, she had no property, she had no place to live.
Right.
And so basically she must have seen that this was her last alternative. She asks Washington to grant her this so that her son Abraham can help her support herself.
Yeah. Yeah. And the story goes that, like, with tears in his own eyes, he granted her petition to have her son released from service to join her and, get away from the war.
Right. So it's grief. Obviously, this is a woman who has lost two sons and then her husband in the service of our country. So she's going to him, begging, brought through her grief, but also, the survival of herself and her only surviving son.
Yeah. Begging for all she has left in the world.
Right.
Yeah. And so they did. They took take whatever work they could find, and I guess they initially settled near what's now Lock Haven. Yeah. And then became what we now know are the first settlers in the part of the county where they settled. It's, of course, the Goss settlement near Stumptown.
In Osceola.
And that sounds a little bit, more vague or whatever. So near Osceola Mills, which I don't know if it's just Osceola now. For a long time it was Osceola Mills, but now it's just Osceola.
Right. Eat 'em up, Osceola, for those of you, football fans in our crowd.
Right.
Yes.
So,
and Elizabeth she is said to be buried in that same cemetery with her son, the old Goss cemetery at Stumptown. And we have pictures, which
we'll put up here too.
Absolutely.
My editing skills are hopefully improving. I can do that for you.
Yes.
So this is where her story became local history, not just revolutionary history. It's local history as well, because they, along Abraham, and he was married at this point. I'm not sure when he was married, also to an Elizabeth, or
because it's, you know, just to make it a little more confusing.
yeah. So there's another Elizabeth Goss, but that would have been this Elizabeth Goss's daughter-in-law.
Yes.
And
so she becomes, you know, and again, this is what we love about history, is that she becomes she's not just a name on her record. She's not just a name of the, you know, seriously, the select DAR Patriot list.
Yeah.
I mean, she is a living, breathing person that, you know, came to Clearfield County, Osceola specifically, with her son.
Yeah.
And she was a patriot.
Yeah. And then lots of descendants still in the area.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of Gosses still in the Osceola Stumptown area, but, you know, of course, spread out wide and far from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she's even remembered on the Osceola Mills, the 2004 bicentennial marker for the town.
Yes.
And also she's on the historical marker, the blue historical markers.
The state marker.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Which maybe I can put one of those up here too.
That'd be great.
Might as well throw
That'd be
in
great.
another picture.
So in clear, concrete terms, her patriotic service, you know, was following the Army, both as a cook, but also as a hospital nurse. She started after the Wyoming massacre, which was pretty early in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, and that matters because it's a way that women don't always show up in our in the records, you know.
Right.
Because history doesn't always spotlight the women in the efforts that they have, you know.
Right.
You always know that they're there doing something and, you know, picturing them cooking and cleaning or whatever, but not necessarily right alongside.
Right. We
the
talked
soldiers.
before about, you know, the women at home, you know, keeping the home fires burning, taking care of the house, farming the fields, taking care of the kids. And so what she did was definitely, you know, Washington's army could not have continued and been successful without lots of people just like Elizabeth Goss doing what she did. Yeah. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fancy.
No.
It was, I'm sure, ugly, gritty, you know, just gut-wrenching work. Yes.
Real
work, trying to keep folks alive.
Yeah. And documented.
Right.
Because you can, any descendant of Elizabeth Goss can join the DAR, not just through her husband or her sons, but because she was a patriot.
Right.
You can join that, or the sons of the Revolution.
Right. There's an SAR along with the DAR. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we are doing this season. We want to dig into local stories, folks that have a connection to America's 250. We're actually, we got our cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
No booze today, Mom. Don't worry. So, but actually, when we leave here today, we're going to go to the Clearfield County Courthouse and hopefully attend the Pennsylvania Clearfield County American 250 kickoff.
That's exciting. That's going to be a fun thing.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So if you love these kind of overlooked stories, you know, subscribe to our channel. We're new. We'd love to you to subscribe and share and, you know, like and comment. Follow us on Spotify as well. If you're listening there, you can come over and follow us on YouTube as well. You know, do both.
Right. And, you know, send us information. Like if you have an ancestor that did something specifically, you know, during the Revolutionary War, something specific to America 250, you know, let it in the comment section. Let us know. We're looking for great stories, stories that maybe have been overlooked, but also stories that inspire. To me, you know, a lot of times we think about, like you said at the beginning, you know, we think about the men and their muskets and their bravery, but a lot of times some of the people in the background get overlooked.
They do. And definitely very inspiring stories about regular people.
Right.
I mean, they were exceptional in their bravery and their loyalty, but they were regular people too.
Absolutely.
They were much like all of us.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So next week, we're going to be back with some more Revolutionary era stories, and the whole year we're going to sprinkle those in. We're going to keep up some of what we already do.
Because we have so much to talk about.
So many
Get
stories.
Get ready.
We've got a lot coming. It's going to be fun.
We do. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, Jen. So that's it for this week's episode of Folklore and Facts, Grandma's Getting to the Bottom of It. We're Jennifer and AJ, two history-loving grandmas just sharing what we find.
We are independent. We are not speaking for any of the organizations that we're affiliated with, and we are always learning.
So if we missed something, please just tell us nicely.
And if you've got a story idea or you want to be a guest on the show, just let us know in the comment section.
And if you want more stories like this, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.